Welcome back to our last installment of Black Cinema in Black History. Did you guys enjoy this series? I want to know because I might bring it back as like a once a month thing so that we can continue to focus on Black stories that need to be told. And I might do it either way, who knows. But this week we're talking about a soldier story. Guess what? This is one of Denzel Washington's first movies. And outside of Denzel, also we have names like Robert Townsend and other actors who became really popular in their latter years after this movie came out. So, A Soldier Story stars Howard E. Rollins Jr. as Captain Davenport, our main character, Adolph Caesar as Sergeant Waters, Art Evans as Private Wilkie, David Allen Greer as Corporal Cobb, David Harris as Private Smalls, Dennis Lipscomb as Captain Taylor, Robert E. Townsend as Corporal Ellis, Denzel Washington as Private First Class Peterson, William Allen Young as Private Henson, and even a little quick Patti LaBelle appearance, Wing Hauser as Lieutenant Byrd, Scott Paulin as Captain Wilcox, John Hancock as Sergeant Washington, not Washington as in President Washington, and Trey Wilson as Colonel Nivens. So A Soldier Story is adapted from a 1981 Pulitzer Prize winning Broadway stage play by Charles Fuller. The story takes place near the end of World War II. The story opens with a black sergeant being murdered, and we don't see who it is as they're off screen. Some people believe that it was the KKK, while others doubt this. A black military officer, who also happens to be a lawyer, is sent to investigate. Davenport, that is the officer who was sent to investigate, is given 3 days to conduct his investigation by Colonel Nivens. Captain Taylor is the only white officer who actually wants justice in this case, is reluctant to cooperate because of the fact that they sent a black officer, and he feels that nothing will get done with a black officer in charge. He doesn't think the people will listen to him or take him seriously, and in the end, he will end up failing. Some of the black soldiers are rooting for the captain, and they're very impressed and happy to see a black man in charge, but some of them also are not rooting for him. They make his inquiries difficult, they stand in his way, and they overall just don't seem to take him seriously. Maybe they think the same thing, that as a black man, he can't succeed. But they never really let it be known. Waters Company was officially part of the 221st Chemical Smoke Generator Battalion. They were, however, the colored people on the battalion were assigned menial jobs in comparison to their white counterparts. Things like sweeping the floor, doing the dishes, cooking the meals. They didn't see actual combat. Waters eventually charged Private CJ with the murder of a white MP. Then he baited him into hitting him so that the charges would get changed to him going to jail for attacking a senior officer rather than the murder. It's thought that he didn't really think CJ did it, and so he baited him on purpose, but you can't be sure. They think it was said he didn't actually like CJ. He thought he was a goody two-shoes who wasn't really worth his time. Unfortunately, while in prison, CJ lost his mind and he killed himself. A lot of this happened because of Waters' own internalized racism, thanks to his time in France during World War I, where he helped to lynch black soldiers who acted as Uncle Toms to French civilians. Unfortunately, after CJ kills himself, Waters begins to have overwhelming guilt and turns to the bottle. It's on one night when he leaves the bar that he's murdered. Initially, Davenport thinks he finds his man and charges him, but when he thinks back to it, he realizes that that can't be the right man. He does then go back and find the right man, who decided to try and go AWOL while the whole investigation was being carried out. Then we also find out that the black boys of the battalion get to go fight in the war, and they're very excited, celebrating at the same time as we figure out who the actual culprits are. Captain Davenport is then congratulated by the white senior officer who once doubted him. And he says it's great to see, and that maybe they could get used to colored boys being in charge. This is the story I gave a 10 to as far as acting goes. I mean, come on. All these all-star names in their prime, in their youth, did a great job. I gave the story a 9, giving it an overall 9.5. It's a real cool. This one is culturally important. It opens our eyes to the racism and the segregation in regiments back during the time of the war in the military, during the Jim Crow South era. This is during a time and in a place where a black senior officer was unprecedented and sent bitterness and resentment through blacks and whites alike. Blacks for thinking that they would never be able to reach that position, and whites for thinking they have to take orders from a black man. It's absolutely crazy. So that has been our last, at least February Black History Month episode of Black Cinema and Black History. Black history is about more than just what everyone else always talks about. I decided to take a little bit of my own flair to history and to Black history by talking about something that I know a little bit more about. Yes, the marches were important. The things they don't teach us in school about people who were involved in the movement, very important. But there's a lot of other people out there already doing that, and I don't feel like that's my way of bringing light to Black history. But I do think that my way of bringing light to Black history is in the Black stories that were told through Black cinema, and that's why I did this series. This movie is one of the movies that I watched on Amazon Prime. So I guess I'll just link Amazon Prime, maybe a link directly to the video for Amazon Video, but it's not going to be one that you find here on YouTube. So if you have Prime Video, you can search this movie. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this series.